anyone had a weird obsession over a creepy or unusual thing as a kid? No? Just me? Oh. Well, it's not really surprising, to be honest. In 2nd grade through 3rd grade, it was ghosts. In 4th grade, it was serial killers. And then in 5th grade, it was cults. Now, these obsessions didn't really last long for me. They were just a once in a thing. But recently, as I was scrolling through TikTok, I found a video ranting about an online cult. Now, of course, this is a long time ago, and that online cult has been banned. But ever since then, I've been getting more and more videos about cults, which made me become curious about the subject. For instance, what is a cult? Well, at first, I thought a cult was just a bunch of crazy people all banding together and they were just cuckoo, just like me in my middle school, where I land the role of Cinderella, and since my last name was Ho and my role in Cinderella was the stepmother, half of my grade started calling me Mother Ho. Some people even started saying it was a cult. But the thing is, it was not a cult. It was just a bunch of crazy middle schoolers saying random things as a joke. A cult is much more dangerous and different than the Mother Ho situation. And if you're thinking, well, is it middle schoolers who are dangerous? Then I'm really sorry, because you must have a tough time with middle schoolers, because it's pretty obvious cults are more dangerous. A cult is a bunch of people who believe in a religious belief or feel like a family, and there's always going to be a leader. For instance, Jim Johns and David Brad. These cults have a belief system of a leader. The leader is basically a king, or who knows? They think the king is a god. And then there's the leaders. If you try to escape, one of the members will snitch on you, and there will be consequences. Now, how will cults form? You might be asking that. Or how does someone voluntarily join a cult? How does somebody go into a cult and say, hey, I would like to join? Well, nobody joins a cult voluntarily. But first, let's talk about how they're formed. We have to go back to what a cult is. A cult is a bunch of people who believe in a religious belief. And there's a leader, of course. The leader would claim, like David Crosh, would claim to be the voice of God, or an angel, or a messenger of God. The story of Crosh started off with him being involved with a cult called the Branch Divinities, with the leader, Victor Orstev, yeah. Now, at first, the Branch Divinities were just a bunch of people who were awaiting Jesus' return, and they thought that other people have given up on waiting for Jesus for worldly pursuits. After he died, David Crosh came into power, but before he claimed to be the voice of God, other cult members who used to be formerly with the Branch Divinities claimed that David Crosh would sexually abuse children in that cult and make guns and weapons. So the police got, involved. So that's when he claimed to be the voice of God, and he lied to his members saying there's gonna be apocalypse. And so him and his members went into hiding. He was trying to escape the police. I've talked about the Branch Divinities, but what other cults are out there? Well, there's a cult called the Peoples of Temple, with the leader, Jim Johns. Well, not Jay Johns, Jim Johns. Jim Johns was born in Indianapolis. And at first he was just a normal dude, but as he grew up, he became a member of a Christian church, and he wanted to save up money to start his own church. He moved to Los Angeles and made his own church called the Peoples of Temple. And he spread word about rape equal women's rights, equal rights, and racial justice. And so in Los Angeles, he's became a really known figure. And at this point, 20,000 members have been in his cult. However, this fame started to get to him because past members started claiming that, hey, he's not a good person. He made me give up all my belongings, like my house, clothes, even their own children. And some of them were getting beatings. And Jim stated that it was cancer healing, when in reality, he was just beating them, right? And so him being paranoid, afraid to go on the streets, he decided to invite 1,000 of his members to head to Guyana, thank you, and for a quote-unquote paradise. As his members stayed there, they realized that Jamestown, was what the place was called, was not a paradise and was basically the definition of being slave. At this point, the members were being used as slaves, and Jim Johns made sure that they can't leave. Their passports were gone. Around the jungle, armed men refused to let them leave, and they couldn't even call or send a letter to their family members telling them where they're at, because he even took their phones, well, not phones, because this was in 1970s. There was just nothing to contact their members, right? And on November 1978, though, U.S. Representative Leo Ryan and a bunch of reporters decided to go to Jamestown to see what this was all about. And at first, it seemed pretty nice. There was nothing wrong with the place. It actually seemed better than nice. Ryan and his reporters got treated to dinner with the afternoon of entertainment. However, that joy didn't last long until members started saying, please let me leave this place. I don't want to be here anymore. And Ryan and his reporters were like, oh, all right, we're going to help you. So after they left, they took a few members with them to help them escape. The next day, as they were waiting for the plane to arrive in the jungle, on November 1978, Jim Johns ordered his armed men to go into the jungle and kill Ryan and his reporters and the members who tried to escape. None of them survived. The same day, Jim Johns ordered the rest of his members to drink quote-unquote Kool-Aid, which was poisoned. And they didn't have a choice because they were being held at gunpoint. After that, finally, authorities arrived. What they found was a bunch of bodies, dead bodies laying on the ground, and they found Jim Johns' body, age 46, dead to a gunshot to his head, most likely caused by himself. The death toll on that day was 909 people. Anyways, I'm done talking about cults. Now, what have you learned? Well, I've learned how they're formed. What are they? And, Jamestown. Some people think cults is not a big deal, but in reality, it is a big deal. Some may have less of an impact than others, but if you ever meet a real cult survivor and not some attention seeker on TikTok saying, I survived an online cult, then please give them sympathy, because being stuck in a cult is not fun, and the trauma does not always go away.